As Guyana continues to embrace digital innovation, the way businesses and consumers make payments is also evolving. One of the companies helping to drive the change is FLOPAY. Joining me today for this special Ignite News interview are Alima Sidat, founder of FLOPAY, and Jarrett Morgan, CFO of Demerara Bank Limited, to discuss how the platform works, what makes it different, and its vision for the future of digital payments in Guyana. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you guys today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
I'm great, thank you.
That's great to hear. So let's get right into it. For viewers now hearing about FLOPAY, could you tell me how it works?
So FLOPAY was created essentially to solve the problem of payment acceptance and also to drive financial inclusion. And so the way it works is we provide a solution. The solution ensures that Visa card payments and in the future other networks are accepted on this device. And we can get into the details of other specificity later.
So how did this idea really come about? Like, what problem did you see in the market?
In terms of what inspired me to do this, my background is in payments. So I've done payments for the last 22 years globally. And so as a returning Guyanese, I felt that leveraging that experience here made a lot of sense because Guyana is a pretty cash-intensive environment. And so that was the inspiration to leverage those experiences and those networks and technologies and bring that back to Guyana.
Can you explain how the FLOPAY transaction actually works? If I tap my card at a business using your service, what happens from that point until the merchant gets paid?
Oh, sure. So when a card is tapped, our device will accept that transaction. That transaction has to be now secured and sent across to Visa, the network, or MasterCard, or American Express, any platform that is in the middle. And so what we do is we capture the transaction and we work with our partner, Demerara Bank, in order to process the transaction and then communicate it off to the network. That part of the transaction is called an authorization. That authorization secures the amount of money to be paid to that merchant. It is our job to ensure that that is captured and secured. And then eventually that amount is settled and then paid to the merchant's account.
Okay, so aside from what you mentioned, how exactly does Demerara Bank fit into this process?
Right, thank you for that. Demerara Bank serves as the sponsor of FLOPAY. So every transaction that FLOPAY is processing actually passes through Demerara Bank. So as a financial institution, we have to be regulated, and we as an institution regulate FLOPAY to ensure that whatever is happening in this market remains safe and secure.
Okay, so who's actually holding the money and managing the transactions behind the scenes?
Sure. So as Alima would have mentioned, how the transactions are actually processed. And that is a fairly automated process, and everything goes through first FLOPAY, then Demerara Bank, then to the networks that are involved. You mentioned money, and that's a very important thing in Guyana. Demerara Bank regulates these transactions, and we hold those funds for those customers, merchants, sorry. So what happens is when a transaction is authorized, that merchant has to be paid at some point. Demerara Bank is seeing every transaction that the merchant is processing, and we actually receive that money and we hold it in a particular account. Then when the time, I shouldn't say when the time is right, but at the settlement phase, we pay out those funds directly to the merchants. So think of us, we are a bank, but we're also offering a level of security to the merchants that are not directly under our control.
Who is FLOPAY really designed for? Large companies, small businesses, or just everyone?
FLOPAY as a solution is designed for both large as well as small, even I would say micro customers. And so the solution is wireless, so the actual device is a wireless device. It comes with a significant number of features and capabilities. And so we feel that even if a business is small or medium, they require the same level of security, of convenience, and capability as a larger merchant. And so it is agnostic. Now, we focus on ensuring that the device is provided with sufficient support. So whether you're a large merchant or you're a small merchant, we provide the exact same support to you to ensure that all the transactions happen the way they're supposed to and bring convenience to the cardholder.
So if I'm a small business owner watching right now, how easy would it be for me to start up with this?
That's a great question. We've ensured that the solution is very digital in the sense that after you've had an interest in our solution, we will send you a link. Now, the reason why you're not able to directly sign up from our website, which is a possibility, but we don't do that, we qualify the customer first because there are a few things that needs to be met first before we send a link. Once a person registers, it takes 4 business days for us to process that. But our expectation is that as we get bigger, we will be able to do that within 15 days. But right now, because of our scale, in 4 days, you're able to have a machine.
Oh. So what makes FLOPAY different from other card payment options that are out there?
That's also another good question. There are 3 things that stand out clearly in my mind. So the requirement to access the service, that's a differentiator. The service itself, and also the support that we offer. So let me explain the first. So in terms of the requirement, a merchant has a problem to be solved, which is I want to be able to accept payments. With that problem, the merchant just needs a solution. But in the traditional model, the merchant has to establish a bank account first with the service provider before they're able to get a point of sale machine. We're different. You essentially, as a merchant, you maintain the account. There are no requirements for you to create a new bank account. You bring your bank account to us, and we will configure the capability for you. The second is in terms of the solution. We provide the point of sale device, which is wireless. We provide a SIM, which allows you to have data, which makes it even more efficient as a wireless device because it has Wi-Fi, the data as well. We provide dashboards that allow you to log in, similar to how you would a bank account, to see your transactions. So as the transactions are occurring, you can actually log into your portal and see your transactions. So you leave your staff in the store, you go off somewhere else, you're able to log in and see the transactions that are happening. And then the third for us, it has to do with support. For any service to be meaningful in terms of tech, support is really important. And as I mentioned, customer support is provided through the phone, through WhatsApp, and also through recordings. So to solve issues with our customers, we record solutions and send that off to them.
So what has the response from businesses been like so far?
Quite good. Essentially, I think the thing that we're most happy about is the trust that we've established with merchants. And so let me explain what that means a little. Merchants, there will always be issues, okay? So as a technology stabilizes, you could have, behaviors that are not as expected. But what I've observed from our 50 merchants that we have right now is that they trust us to the extent that they have patience with us. They read the information that we provide them. They cooperate with us, and for me, that has been a huge achievement.
So a concern that people always raise is security. So how do you convince businesses that their money is safe?
So in terms of security, there are 2 elements to that. One has to do with the point at which the card is interacting with the device. That's the first. And then the second has to do with what Jarrett mentioned, which is the movement of funds. So I'll address the first because he's talked about the second. These devices are built according to industry standard. So there's something called PCI DSS, and that is a personal card information digital security standard that is leveraged in order to ensure that all of these machines that you see in Guyana and across the world, they all meet the exact same standard. And the people that set those standards are the networks as well as the various technology bodies. We have those devices. So when you tap your card, it is following the same standard as you would in a developed country like the US or Canada or Europe. So that is one form of security. The other thing is that we ensure that none of the data is stored in a way that is against the requirements. There's no card data stored. We educate our merchants never to store information that belongs to a customer because it puts two people at risk. It makes the merchant liable, and it also puts their customer at risk for someone stealing the card information. So I feel that for us, we need to use the right technology, and we also need to educate our merchants to protect cardholders.
So what happens if something goes wrong, like a failed transaction or a technical issue?
Okay, so transactions do fail, and they fail for a myriad of reasons. Let me explain a little as to what causes that. There are two parties that interact when that card is tapped on that machine or swiped or dipped. We play a role as the acquiring side, and then there's another side to it, which is the person that gave the card to the cardholder, the issuer. And so when that card is tapped, the issuer, the person that provided that card in the first place, may have requirements that would trigger a decline. It's interesting. So some banks across the world, even in Guyana, they set certain conditions, and when those conditions are not met, you could have a decline. And so your experience is negative, but we can't control it because it's happening on a side that is out of our control. So declines happen because there are rules set on the card side. Declines can also happen because of connectivity. Now, Guyana suffers a lot with internet issues, and so we are cognizant of that. We know that the country will improve and that will go away eventually. But to solve that, we educate our merchants that if a transaction is declined, there are codes that show up. So we train them that this code means certain things so that they know what to do to get a successful transaction eventually. So education, also ensuring that we monitor and track and ensure that we work with our partner to drive efficiency in our system so those declines are essentially removed or reduced.
So Guyana is still a cash-based society mostly.
Very much, yes.
Yeah, so why do you think that is?
I would say the availability of services, and I would like to go a little bit further with that question because a customer chooses because of convenience and because of need. That's what I think, and sometimes even experience, because a lot of us choose luxury. It's not a need, it's because we want to experience it. But I think it's the availability of a digital option. So if you look across the landscape in Guyana, you have a lot of established businesses with a card machine, but a lot of the medium-sized don't because there is an access issue. So cardholders, I would say customers choose cash because it's easy. And there's a lot of fear in the market as well. Fear around data, fear around security, fear around information. So I think cash is being chosen because there hasn't been a good alternative. That's one. And then the other is fear and lack of understanding of how payments work.